Hello, today I'm going to be making a chicken, broccoli, bacon, and potato bake. Now, that's an awfully long name, but that is the name that was given to it by the originator, so I'll include her recipe down below. I originally saw this on the WODs, and at the time, Kimberly of the WODs suggested putting more garlic in it, which I did. But when I tasted the whole bake, it was bland, so I made some changes. I also made a change that the original recipe breaks it up into two 8x8 pans, one in which you can freeze if you want. I have four of us to feed, and an 8x8 pan wouldn't be enough, especially with hungry teenagers. So I included a 13x9 pan, and I did the entire recipe. I didn't split it up within this pan, and it all fit rather well. As you can see, the first thing I'm starting is the potatoes. Now, I got a little lazy and I bought a bag of those baby potatoes. They're a little more expensive than just getting a regular bag of potatoes. So, if you do get a regular bag, which is fine, make sure you dice it up, because if you don't, you're going to wind up with al dente potatoes that won't cook within the hour that the bake's in the oven. So I'm cutting these in half. Unless they're rather small, then I'm just leaving them as is. And going through a bag and a half, I didn't measure it out entirely, but I filled the bottom of this pan with potatoes. And I'll fast forward through that right now, and we'll continue on to the next. One thing I failed to mention on the first part of the audio was to grease the pan, especially if you don't want much of a mess after everybody eats. So here I diced up two chicken breasts. I didn't make it rather small because they were going to cook in the oven for about an hour, and if you make them too small, they're going to get super tough. Now, following this, I throw on some broccoli. Now, the recipe calls for 2 cups. I grabbed a bag of frozen broccoli and chopped it up and threw it on top, but I recommend using fresh because the frozen broccoli, the water added to the actual sauce, and it made it look a little curdled. It wasn't really curdled, it was still edible, but it just looked odd. So put your 2.5 cups of chicken down and follow it with 2 cups of broccoli florets. Now, once the broccoli florets are on, I go ahead and I increase the amount of spices in this. Like I was saying, just putting additional garlic on it, I found it awfully bland. So I put probably a tablespoon of garlic. I really didn't measure. I just sprinkled it across, and then I included a tablespoon of paprika, because that's a spice that goes really well with chicken. And I included that, sprinkled it on, and one last thing I included was thyme. Now, I didn't do as much thyme because I didn't want it to be overwhelming within the dish. I did about a teaspoon's worth of thyme. Now, as I did with the potato end, I'll go ahead and fast forward this end so you don't have to sit and watch me just cutting up stuff. So as you see, potatoes go down first, chicken on top of it. You probably should do the spices on top of the chicken, but I kind of got a little cattywampus here. I did some of the broccoli, then I included the spices. But do the chicken, do your spices, add your broccoli. So that's what we're at this point, and we'll continue on in a moment. Once all your spices are on the dish, then you're going to be including your half a cup of bacon. Yes, you could cook your own bacon and chop it up. It's entirely up to you. But I just bought a bag of bacon bits and included about half a cup of bacon bits on top of this. Once your bacon is in place, then you're going to be putting cheese on top of that. Now, the cheese said cheddar, and I believe she wanted you to shred it. I had cheddar Monterey Jack in my fridge, and it was pre-shredded. Yes, I know it's an awful thing, but sometimes you just need to do things quickly. So I got that bag and put my equivalent of 2 cups on top of everything here. Now, once that's in place, then you get to put your heavy cream. Half a cup of heavy cream, and you just kind of disperse it over the entire dish. You don't have to use heavy cream. You can use half and half. That would work out well too. Once the heavy cream or half and half is in place, then you're going to take 2 tablespoons of butter, chop it up into little cubes, and kind of float it all over the top of everything here. Once the butter is down, it goes in the oven at 350 for about an hour. Once the hour is up, you go ahead and take it out and put about a half cup more of cheese on top, just to give it that kind of crusty cheese top when everything's finished baking. And then you'll be ready to eat. Now, right now, there we go, comes the cream, then will come the butter. So, as I've been saying, if you like what I'm doing, please give me a thumbs up. And of course, if you like what I'm doing with this channel, feel free to subscribe. I do appreciate your time, and I hope to give you more interesting recipes to work with. So here is the finished product, as you've seen already in the beginning. And I guess all I have to say now is thank you and bye-bye.